Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here on our YouTube channel for episode number 833. Well, today we are heading to Oklahoma, and we're going to be talking about fabrication, mechanics, and welding. I'll be speaking with Clay Grossnicklaus, and he's going to talk to us about being a national proficiency finalist and a very cool internship that's going to eventually lead him back to running his own business. We're going to start that for you right now. Joining me today is Clay Grossnicklaus, and he is coming to us from Chickasha, Oklahoma, where he has been serving as his chapter's president and going to be talking to us all today about proficiency awards and his supervised agricultural experience. Clay, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you bet, man. I'm looking forward to speaking with you and finding out everything you've been doing. Do you mind if I just jump in by asking you a few questions just about you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, how old are you now?
I am 18 years old, and I will be turning 19 in September.
Okay. So now, are you finishing up school right now, or did you finish last year?
I'm currently a senior here at Chickasha.
Senior. Okay. Very cool. So, how long have you been part of the FFA?
I've been in the FFA for the past 5 years, since 8th grade, but my older brother was a part of it, so I've been around it for probably the past 12 to 13.
Got it. And what made you join? Did you want to follow in your brother's footsteps, or were there reasons in addition to that?
No, it was just about I really just followed in his footsteps. My dad was in it, he was in it, so I just felt it was my duty to be in it as well.
Okay, so you had a family tradition going on.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, where you're living in Oklahoma, are you on a farm, are you in a town, or are you something kind of in the middle of those two?
I am, I would say, on a farm.
Okay. What?
I run a small purebred Simmental cattle operation.
Okay. And is that yours specifically, or is that the family's?
Family owned.
Okay, very good. How long has that been going on?
Past 10 years. We started it back.
Gotcha. Okay. So your family has been involved in raising registered cattle for about a decade now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very cool. Now, what's your day-to-day role in that?
My day-to-day role is wake up about 6 o'clock every morning, come out, feed calves, check cows. This time of year, we're calving out. So making sure all the heavy-bred mamas, they're doing okay, making sure calves are up and healthy, doctoring when I need to, and stuff like that, yes.
Okay. So you're calving right now. So we're recording this right at the end of April, even though this is going to air in June. You're calving right now.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. You know, it's funny. I live up in Idaho, and people up here start calving in like January or February. It's cold. The ground's frozen. There's snow on the ground generally, and it creates its own challenges. How do you guys? How did you select your calving season to be so deep into the spring?
Well, we usually try to calve around March and April because it's not freezing cold, but it's not crazy hot either. So it's right there in the spring and the fall, and it's nice. We don't have to worry about calves being born and freezing and stuff, and just making sure everything calves smoothly.
Gotcha. So it's a lot easier on those mamas to calve this time of year too, I would think.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that's interesting. I like that model. I start calving in the beginning of February, just trying to keep up with timelines, but I've got a little bit different model than you too. So interesting that you guys do that there. I would have suspected, if somebody asked me to guess, I would have guessed you guys calve, like December or January, but you're hitting it right when you got that spring grasses coming up and everything's that's when things are supposed to be calving out, right?
Yes, sir. And here we we raise some show cattle, so we really have to have them born in the right months to where we can show at our where they're old enough to show at our local shows and state shows.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So there's a timing issue there as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you're serving as your chapter's president. Tell us about that. How did you decide to become an officer?
My brother was chapter officer for 3 years. He served as chapter president for 2 of them. So I was looking up to him as a role model, and I thought it was cool how he led the chapter and how he really was a model for the Chickasha FFA. And I wanted to be that model and really be recognized as a leader of my chapters. So whenever I got the opportunity my sophomore year to run for chapter office, I took it. And sophomore year, I served as the chapter's reporter. Last year, I served as the chapter secretary, and this year I was blessed enough to be named the chapter president.
Very cool. Well, good for you. That's wonderful. And I'm assuming you have, well, I know you've got at least one FFA advisor that's kind of helped you along the way. Would you mind letting us know who your FFA advisor or advisors are or have been?
My FFA advisors, so 8th grade and freshman year, I started out with Stephen Tillinghast and Michael Gustafson. And then my sophomore, junior, and my senior year, I've had Colby and Emily Schmidt.
Very cool. Well, thank you for acknowledging all of them, Clay. Really appreciate that. And really quick, I want to acknowledge a couple of our sponsors and everybody. Of course, I want to mention Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. Clay and I are talking cattle right now, and in my opinion, there is no finer livestock handling equipment than Powder River for squeeze chutes, calf tables, sweep tubs, panels, whatever you need to handle your large livestock. Powder River can handle it. They were developed over 80 years ago out here in the West with some of the craziest cattle you can find in the U.S. coming in off of public ground. And if they can handle those cattle, well, they can certainly handle yours. Let your local farm and ranch retailer know you'd like to see that Powder River green in their sales yard so you can buy the finest as well. You can find them at powderriver.com. And then, of course, I want to mention Lacrosse Footwear. Man, just the best in neoprene-based rubber boots and anything else you need footwear-related you want to keep dry, warm, and comfortable, you can find through Lacrosse. They're at lacrossefootwear.com, and I always love to mention them during our FFA episodes. Lacrosse Footwear is proud to support the FFA by annually sponsoring 15 scholarships along with 100 jackets as part of the Give the Gift of Blue program. We're using those Alpha Range boots here on our farm, and we hope you will be as well. Find them over at lacrossefootwear.com. All right, well, Clay, let's talk about your supervised agricultural experience. So what have you been doing?
This time of year, it's really busy down here in Southwest Oklahoma. Farmers are getting ready to start baling hay. So we've been working on balers, tractors, spray rigs. We've even started getting combines ready to go. I've had to replace a few rakes. We've been servicing equipment, getting things back up and running, just ready to go for this hay season.
Got it. So this is your father's business, and you're working in it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so it's JRJC Mechanics and Welding. So you're doing repairs, you're doing welding work, but you're also doing service work and repairs on engines and parts and things like that?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Okay, very good. Now, how long has your dad had this business?
I'd say 20-plus years.
Okay. And how long have you been working in it?
Since about 2014.
Okay, so 6 years now. Oh, man, so you're 12 years old. They were getting you out there, and you're getting to work.
Yep, I was helping them hand wrenches, hold lights. I was all in it.
Okay, very good. Now, over time, how have your roles and your responsibilities expanded?
I started out by handing wrenches and holding flashlights, like I said before. Now I'm out. I got my own service truck rigged up, and I'm out servicing balers, checking otters, changing oils, changing fuel filters. I'm out. I get up about 7 o'clock whenever he does, and we're out. We go out and service equipment till about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. Come home, eat dinner, go to bed, and back to it the next morning.
And do it all again the next day.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. So you're independent now. You're out with your own service truck, and you're going for it.
Yes, sir.
Good for you. Now, so I mean, obviously you've acquired skills over time, both mechanical skills. Are you doing some of the welding as well?
Yes, sir.
So
we have actually in our shop right now, I'm doing a custom fab, and we're replacing a motor on a sprayer rig with a power washer motor. So I've had to mechanically fabricate a new mount for the motor.
okay, very cool. So you're doing fabrication and you're figuring out how to retrofit this power washer motor on there.
Yes, sir.
Good for you. That's really cool. So you're doing all that. Now, how many of these skills were you able to either learn or improve upon through classes in FFA?
I acquired a lot of my welding skills through FFA. Whenever I first got to high school, I could run a bead fairly well, but through my 4 years in FFA and under all my instructors, I have now come to really understand most of the parts of welding and the process and what all it takes to put a good weld down and a weld to where it will stay and hold and look somewhat decent.
Good for you. That is a skill that I do not have. I would love to have that skill, but that's something I'm yet to develop. So I'm always envious of you guys that can do that. That's really cool. Well, so let me ask you, have you had some proficiency awards or recognition in that way along the lines here?
Yes, sir. My sophomore year, I got my agricultural repair and maintenance proficiency on the entrepreneur side.
Okay.
And I placed third in state with that my sophomore year. So the next year came around, we updated it, and we sent it back in on the entrepreneurship side. I'm sorry. And I won state in that one, and I was a Gold Star finalist nationally with that one. And then this past year, we did the agricultural repair and maintenance proficiency, but on the placement side this year.
Uh-huh.
And I won state in that, and I was lucky enough to be one of the 4 finalists on the national level for that one.
Very cool. So you've won state twice and had a gold at national and been a national finalist at the national level.
Yes, sir.
That is awesome. Now, throughout all of that, how many times did you go to the national convention?
I went to my first national convention about 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015. My 8th grade year, that was when it was held in Louisville. And then I've gone the past 2 years on my officer team, both to Indiana.
Okay. So you went quite a few times before you actually got up on the stage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. So how was it? I mean, those first couple years you went, you were looking at people coming onto that stage, and then all of a sudden you're a national finalist and you're up on that stage. How has that changed for you?
You really don't understand how many people are looking at you whenever you're up on that stage.
Yeah, that's a whole new world when you're looking out at all of them, right?
Yes, sir. 100%.
That is great. Well, congratulations. That is a great accomplishment. Had there been a national finalist from Chickasha High School before?
Yes, sir. Actually, my brother was the last national finalist, and he also won nationals.
Oh, very cool. Well, good. Well, we have talked a lot about your brother. What is his name? We should acknowledge him.
Jacob Grossnicklaus.
Okay. Well, thank you for acknowledging him. So, man, you've got quite a FFA tradition of achieving high levels in FFA in your family.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Well, here you are. So by the time we air this, you're going to be graduated. Are you still going to school right now, or are you sent home because of the coronavirus?
We are sent home and social distancing.
So okay, so you're probably not going back. Do you know? Do you have any plans to be going back?
To high school, I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay. So by the time this comes out, you will have basically graduated. You'll be done with high school. So what is next for you now that high school is over? Is it full-time working? Are you going to college, going to trade school, going to the military? I mean, what's next for you?
Next for me is starting in August, I will be attending Oklahoma State University Institute of Technology,
Okay.
which is a trade school. I will be majoring in heavy diesel mechanics. I have attained an internship with Warren Cat in Oklahoma City, and I will be going into their Warren Cat program.
Oh, very cool. Now, tell me about that program. What does that entail?
So with that program, I will go to college at OSU for 8 weeks, do my main core classes along with a few CAT classes, and then once those 8 weeks are up, I will go and intern with Warren Cat in the city and get hands-on experience for 8 weeks.
Okay.
And then I will do that for 2 years.
Very cool. And when you're saying Warren Cat, am I hearing that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that a Caterpillar dealer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so, but you'll do the internship with the dealership, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Very cool. So they offer that locally for students going to Oklahoma State. And what will you be learning during that 2 years working in town?
I will be learning about hydraulics, transmissions, engines, heat and air, electrical, anything and everything that will help me contribute to Warren Cat, will help them succeed.
Got it. And then when you finish with that, that's interesting. So you'll finish that program. Then do you have an obligation to work for them for some time?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't have an obligation, but I will more than likely work for them for 2 to 3 years, and then for sure, then possibly come home and start my own deal. Start my own business.
I was going to ask you about that. If you've kind of been inspired by your father's business, is that something you'd like to start for yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, very cool.
I would.
Well, good for you. That is great. Well, I've really enjoyed hearing about this. Before we finish up, I'd love to ask your advice for other students out there. I mean, it sounds like, your dad's got a business. You've jumped right in. You started off very young doing some small tasks, but now you're completely independent. What advice would you have for students out there listening whose moms and dads have a business and in terms of learning and taking advantage of working in part of the family business?
I would say that if you love what you do and it is your true passion, go after it.
Yeah, that is very good advice. And so you found that within your family business, that was something that you truly enjoyed doing.
Yes, sir. I did.
That's great. Well, Clay, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this with us.
Oh, no problem, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us. And as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.